Right, hello, good morning, and welcome to the show. This is Good Morning Ghana live on Metro TV. It's a Tuesday, the 5th day of March 2024. By His grace, we're live, and we're here. We're yet another edition of the show. Our gratitude to go to the Most High God for the rare privilege of being alive, and of course, the opportunity of having another conversation around the top stories making around here in our dear Republic. I'll let you into a panel for the morning's conversation shortly, but let's take a look at the front pages of our newspapers. Daily Graphic. President speaks on LGBTQ plus bill, says institutions will determine human rights compliance. LGBTQ plus bill passage, Ghana risk losing $3.8 billion. GT Bank earmarks package for SMEs. Gadangbe Council launches educational fund. And there's a special Independence Day supplement in today's edition of the Daily Graphic. Daily Guide. Anti-gay bill, Ghana to lose $3.8 billion World Bank funds. Nana awaits Supreme Court decision to assent bill. Freddie Blay protests mischievous multimedia video. Ayoko Boche gets CARICOM support. Be competent, independent, CJ to judges. The New Crusading Guide. John Kumar Jafs Mahama advises false stance on economy. Analysts welcome new appointment of Ken Ofori-Atta, indicated to enhance Ghana's image internationally. So when I saw this, I went looking for who the analysts that the New Crusading Guide referred to were. Okay, I will encourage you to also go and read it. Apostle Boahin's boy granted 10,000 Ghana cedis bail, banned from Christian Divine Church premises. Ignore NDC propaganda on abandoned projects. Ebuakwa North MC, Kwabenya Traditional Authority laments over seized Gaelic land. Sam George's U-turn on LGBTQ surprising, media analyst. The Insight. Kennedy Japan, he says Ghana in dire straits, change now inevitable. Kenke politics, NDC Sami Jemfi and MPP Zokobo a near brawl. Oh, it was nothing close to a brawl. Anyway, New Yorkers demand their city council call for a ceasefire. And then there's epidemic of fake news. That's also on the front page of the Insight. The Inquisitor. Unwarranted. Professor Adair's suspicious agenda against Chief of Staff. Nanoye speaks on sexual and reproductive health rights at Morocco. Calm, assertive COSA for vetting today. For the records, National Cathedral to be commissioned tomorrow, Ofori-Atta. All roads lead to the National Cathedral. Yes. The promise to God will be delivered tomorrow. Okay. When I get the time, I'll inform you. The Daily Statesman, anti-LGBTQ plus bill portends danger for Ghana's economy. Leaked report. President assures Ghana won't sleep in human rights. All roads lead to Eastern Region for 67th Independence Day. NSS deploys 13,516 trained teachers. The New Finder, delay assent to bill. Finance Ministry fears withholding of $3.8 billion. President says he will await Supreme Court decision. Indigenization saved Ghana $249 million in 83 months. Ghana Gas. Collective efforts are critical to overcome Ghana's challenges. Fritz Bafo. Economist calls the bluff of donors over LGBTQ plus bill. Daily Post. Akufo-Addo unveils his own trick, which will prevent him from signing anti-LGBTQ plus bill into law after failing to convince CDD Ghana to go to court. Finance Ministry statement on anti-LGBTQ plus is a lobbying attempt to prevent bill becoming law. Professor John Gachi. Lodina Foundation receives medical equipment from Advent International. And Nanoye delivers keynote address at the 11th Africa Conference on Sexual and Reproductive Health Rights in Rabat, Morocco. Economy Times. Ghana's economy on a slippery path. Cut down on expenditure, said Tekpe. Ghana's tax system needs reform. German government and ADB support creation of 1,600 jobs through setup of North Shore Apparel Ghana Limited in Savlugu. So that's about it. For the front pages, we'll be back shortly. Right, welcome back to the show. If you just joined us, this is Good Morning Ghana live on Metro TV. With me on the show this morning, I have the Member of Parliament for the Bongo constituency. He's also a member of the Energy Committee in Parliament, the Honourable Edward Bauer. Eddie, good morning.
Good morning.
Also with me on the show this morning is the former Member of Parliament for the Kankwe North constituency. And he used to be a member of and he's a former member of the Finance Committee in Parliament. The Honourable Fuseni Issa. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, Randy. And good morning, Edward.
Good morning.
Right. So imagine getting rewarded for doing something you already do every single day. Sounds too good to be true, right? Well, that's exactly what Momo Season is all about. There's something for everyone. Download the Momo app on Play Store or App Store and use Momo Pay for your day-to-day transactions to a merchant, either through the QR code or merchant ID, and stand a chance of winning 1,000 cedis weekly and other amazing prizes. The merchants are also not left out of the reward. Receive payments and win. Keep using your Momo Pay on the Momo app and get rewarded. There are lots and lots of exciting prizes for everyone. So what are we doing today? Transact more with Momo Pay, earn more points, and win big this Momo season. Visit momomerchantapplication.mtn.com.gh for your Momo for Business account today. It's Momo season, so just Momo it with Momo Pay. Terms and conditions apply. And use Kel Kids toothpaste flavored with strawberry that gives a perfect taste for kids and makes them develop a personal attitude and love for brushing their teeth always. Kel Kids toothpaste protects child's gum, prevents cavities, and makes the teeth strong and healthy with freshness all day. Kel Kids toothpaste is recommended for children between 2 and 6 years. It's a product from Samara Company Limited, producers of Sasso, and is approved by the Food and Drugs Authority. Kel Kids, happy, smile. And the pains of climbing the stairs when not exercising could be challenging for all ages, but worry no more. Lift and elevators, I've got you covered with the best portable American pneumatic vacuum elevators on the market today. It's a simple self-supported elevator for both homes and offices, and guess what? It can lift your goods too. Wheelchairs can fit in, and they come in 3 custom-made models. It is affordable and can be installed within 3 days. Visit Lift and Elevators at Sakono, or just call them on 0200535515, or send a mail to elevatorsgh@gmail.com for consultations on the best solutions in easy vertical movement. Amen Scientific and Herbal and Alternative Medical Hospital is organizing a free health screening, and it's open to the general public. This is a way of saying thank you to Ghanaians. What's more rewarding than this? The free screening includes fertility tests, prostate, stroke, diabetes, hypertension, fibroid, ulcers, hepatitis B, and many more. Note that the medical screening is free, but patients with disease conditions will pay a token for their medications. Visit Amen Scientific at Domi, near the Snake Flats down or Clago, near the Shaman Under Bridge, and all the other branches across the country. You can call Amen Scientific on 020-722-9505 or 0244-227192 to book your appointments. Amen Scientific and Alternative Medical Hospital. Allah Shafi, God is the healer. All right. Eddie, let's start off with your committee. Energy Committee. Okay. I'm sure that reading the news, whether it's in newspapers or social media and all that, following the news, you would realize that for some time now, there's a lot of talk, at least from the consumer's point of view, about erratic power supply and the fact that it is not programmed. People cannot plan. It comes as and when it happens. And you hear, oh, Dumso is back, Dumso is not back, Dumso is back, Dumso is not back. And this is at the back of all the debts that we have in that sector. And the fact that occasionally you hear that somebody has threatened, they've closed the pipeline or something, and they are paid some 20 or 30 million, and then they resume. In all of this, your energy committee, I've been expecting that we'll have the energy minister summoned to come and speak directly to some of these issues, but we don't hear anything. What's happening? And then your institution too, apparently you are one of the institutions that don't pay your bills, and you have to be disconnected before you made some payments to get your light restored.
Yeah, So
I wonder why Dubik didn't do it the day earlier when the president was delivering the State of the Nation.
You would have been sacked. But I think that maybe just to start from the part of Parliament, I think that it is a clear indication of what happens in our country when it comes to the ministries, departments, and agencies. To a very large extent, we tend not to even budget for our energy cost. So you see that you can have a ministry that will also match, or you have a whole branch of government that talks about, and we are talking about from ECG's point of view, they say it was $23 million, Ghana cedis, even though Parliament had indicated that they had paid some amount of money. But at least there was some accumulation of debt. Indeed, if you look at the energy sector recovery plan that was authored somewhere around 2017, 2018, it tells you that on an annual basis, just default in payment of bills from ministries, department, agency annually was about $180 million. So it gives you a very clear picture as to how that government sector has these problems. That being said, yes, if you look at the current situation that we find ourselves in terms of the erratic power supply, I will always indicate that, you see, the managers of the power sector are handicapped because they've allowed politics to play a center role in how they manage that. One, anytime you have a situation where for almost 3-4 weeks, almost a month, you have shedding of load between 300 megawatts and 530 megawatts. It is only fair that you allow the distributor to bring out a schedule so that people can plan their lives around it. So if I were to get up today and then know that I'm going to have lights off in the evening, I should ensure that in the afternoon I get my things ironed, maybe things that I need to do. So at least I'll be, even though there's discomfort, I'll be able to plan my life around the schedule that is being given to me by the distributor. But the reason why they cannot publish that is because they are victims of their own utterances in the past. They had indicated, and in fact, just a few days ago when the president came to Parliament, he said that even in the face of our economic crisis, that they have kept the lights on. That's what the president said. But Randy, this problem is purely based on three things. One is financial.
We've kept the lights on, and I keep asking the question.
At what cost? And I know that your famous question you asked, that what cost? And that's, so you see, the first problem that we have is financial. The sector is so indebted to the extent that simply the players within the sector are not able to even get the monies they need to be able to do a lot of things. And I'll explain to you why. If you have a situation where ECG, let's even use what the state itself has said in terms of their losses. ECG currently says that their loss is just around 34%. If the loss is just about 34%, what it tells you is that anytime they buy power, say 100 Ghana cedis, ab initio, they cannot account for 34 Ghana cedis. And so, when they collect the rest, before they even take care of their own internal cost, and to pay the other functional zones, whether it's a transmission or it's a generation, they are unable to do it. That's the first point. So over the period, you have accumulation of debt. Two, because government itself knew that there was a challenge and that ECG in fact was the weakest link, as everybody has always known, in the power value chain. Because ECG itself knows that this is a problem, government also knew that, they put up what they call the cash waterfall mechanism. Randy. And this is particularly a mechanism where they say, because we know that you cannot pay your bills, any time that you collect the money, put in a common pot, we have a predetermined formula in a hierarchical manner that says that this is how we distribute the money. Because remember that you are here to pay for the generation, the energy itself you have your board, you are here to pay for fuel, you are here to pay for transmission and all other factors. That put it there, and then we will do it. And normally if you look at if you look at the mechanism, fuel takes priority. So the first thing is that they must make sure that all fuel suppliers and transporters are, because if you don't have fuel, you cannot generate. So it takes priority. Now, for some funny reason, particularly since this MD came, the ECG MD came, the price waterfall mechanism is simply not operational. You talk to ECG, what do they call them again? The independent power producers, and they tell you that they do not even know what is happening with that particular arrangement that had been put between the distributor and the generators. That's the first thing. Two, you have a situation where, because how do you call it again? The cedi is constantly depreciating against dollar. All the various variable cost changes. One, they will have to do, in terms of their spare parts, they will have to buy the spare parts and other things in dollars. Meanwhile, they invoice users of power in cedis. And so that particular forex loss becomes a liability in their books. So it tends to mess them up as a what do you call it? As a sector. Now you also then will have, in my very humble opinion, serious mismanagement, lack of planning. Randy, you recall that, because when you talk to them, they make the statement that, there's just this technical point, that is a localized problem. How can a localized problem cut off, for example, if you are shedding 530 megawatts, the whole of the north takes roughly around 200 megawatts. And when I use the north, I mean the 5 regions in the north take just about 200 megawatts. So if you are shedding about 530 megawatts, it tells you the amount of, or maybe first the quantum that you are shedding, and two, those people who are cut off from the grid as a result of this. But you hear them make the statement and say that, these are localized problems. Because when they say localized problem, what it simply means is that, assuming that I stay in, say, this area,
yes,
and then there's some transformer here, or maybe a bird was flying and did something, and there's something. So you see that those people who rely on that load are cut off. That's what we call the localized problem. But this is not and mostly localized problems are as a result of distribution issues. They are not as a result of generation issues. Every day you realize that when you talk to the distributor, you talk to the transmitter, they tell you that the transmitter has told them, that's Gridco, has told them that shed this amount of power because the information we have, because remember that they are the system controlling. The amount of the information we have from the generators is that we can only get X amount of power. You can't call that a localized problem. Meanwhile, you will see that is part of the conversation they're having. But again, this is just because of pure financial issues. But there's a bigger issue.
Which is?
And you see, and I empathize with whoever becomes the president in 2025, which I hope it will be John Dramani Mahama. He's going to walk into power crisis. He is walking straight into power crisis.
Why?
The reason is this. Because we continuously sang the song that said that, we had excess capacity, We did not want to be, the government to a very large extent did not want to be seen to be thinking of planning going forward in terms of adding generation.
But they've added a couple.
All those ones that they added, it's not that they added, they were those that were in the pipeline. You remember that? And that's why normally when they do, they will come back and tell you that, you see, they had this, remember that they even had to, that's how we occasioned the $140 million debt judgment debt, the GPGC, the Ghana Power Generation Company, that termination of contract. That's how we occasioned that. Because they created the impression that seemed to suggest that, we didn't need all these power plants. And meanwhile, all these things were done, they were programmed. Because, Randy, if you are going to put up, say, a 300 megawatt plant, on the average, you need between 24 and 36 months to do that. And so you cannot wait when you know that you are depleting all your capacity. You wait till you finish depleting before you introduce the construction. And so you program such plants and say that, look, I know that between this period and this period, I'll need this. And this particular, programming is done based on the study that's always done by Energy Commission, and sometimes even Gridco. Indeed, I remember in 2010, under Dr. Tiaji, some money was found and given to Gridco to do a study on Ghana's generation and then transmission needs. And they projected it up to 2022 or 2020. I mean, there was a projection which suggested clearly the type of the amount of generation we needed on an annual basis, the type of technology we needed, because remember that in all this planning, it must be affordable. It must be something that will be very economic. Because remember that Ghana, we dispatch power on economic basis. If this one is cheaper, we dispatch it before we dispatch the most expensive one. And so this plan was there, and it was a very comprehensive thing that guided the NDC's plan in trying to add plans. This government came, and to a very large extent, these things are all being put on hold. And some of them have been, terminated. Apart from the early power, the early power, they still hope that in 2027, they will bring up 350 megawatts to add to our installed capacity. But between now and that 2027, we will have challenges. And if you look at the data, now you have a situation where when you look at available capacity, and I've always said that installed and available are different. If you look at available capacity, sometimes our redundancy is roughly around 100 megawatts. So the slightest problem, we encounter some of these things. Because if you don't do that, you then have what they call the total blackout. So, Randy, we have one accumulated debt, and let me use, and I'm quoting a source, and I believe that maybe you may want to Google that. The same energy sector recovery plan indicates. They indicated that if by the end of 2023, nothing was done in dealing with the hemorrhage that came as a result of this, accumulation of debt, that the power sector alone was going to have, in terms of debt, $12.3 billion. That is the government's own document that they authored. Between that time and now, nothing seriously has been done. Indeed, what has happened is that we have rather added debt to our situation. You recall Boachi Ajako's vet. He came and indicated to the whole country that the total energy debt, and the total energy debt includes the petroleum sector. So BOST, TOR, what have you, was $2.4 billion. Today, just our indebtedness to IPPs, I'm not saying even the whole power sector, our indebtedness to IPPs is inching towards $2 billion. At the time when we had floated bonds using the ESLA receivables to pay off, to offset our so-called ring fence or legacy debt, we still now, just for the IPPs alone, at almost $2 billion. So the sector is worse off. The sector is in a very precarious manner. And any government who will take over in 2025 is walking straight into power crisis. And nobody should doubt that. And it is one of the things that I think that we must begin to be honest with each other, because see, the issue of power has serious effects on other sectors of the economy. If you do not have enough power, how do you produce even as an industrial person? So we must begin to be honest with ourselves. And I've always indicated to the IPPs, look, the IPPs themselves, they don't help themselves. And I'll tell you why they don't help themselves. The government is using what we call divide and rule tactics to deal with them. So they know that they have a chamber. The chamber says that we owe an accumulated figure of about, say, 1.8 billion. And that we need to pay. And they start threatening you that if you do not pay, this is what we're going to do. What Ministry of Finance does is that they will look for the big boys, those who if they shut down and today, they will have a problem. They call them and then give them something. Someone say, okay, you take this as part payment. So they treat them individually. And when they treat them those way, what then happens is that they then go and then put off their generating plants. I think that the IPPs must be very honest and should not wait for another government. Because most of them are all scared. Because of this frightening and the slightest thing you do, they try to penalize you and what have you. Most of these players are even scared to carry out their threats. And so I do not want a situation, whether it is an MPP government, it is Alan Cash, or whether it is John Mahama, that in 2025 they will begin to start blackmailing the new government on these things. Because this would not have been a problem created by the new government that will assume office on the 7th of January 2025. I think this is what we should be looking at.
Why are you
I don't even know why he's looking at me.
smiling at him?
No. Good morning.
The picture that he has painted does not, shouldn't elicit a smile.
Good morning. Good morning to you.
Good morning, good morning.
And good morning to my friend Bawa. And good morning to your viewers. Let me say good morning to Alhaji Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. This man is proven and he's kept his word with Ghanaians.
Who?
He's promised.
Who has kept his word?
He's laid out his vision and priorities
You answer
when
my
he
question.
becomes president.
I said, who has kept his promise to
Allow me
Ghanaians?
to make my statement, and I can.
Oh,
go back.
okay,
Yeah.
sorry.
He's laid out his vision and his priorities to Ghanaians. Amongst them is the promise to have a second look at the constitution, like we all keep wishing. He's promised Ghanaians that when he becomes president, inshallah, on the 7th of January 2025, he's going to have a second look at Article 71. He's going to have a look at aspects of the constitution that a lot of us think that after 32 or so years, we need to revise it. And so I urge Ghanaians to give him all the support. And inshallah, I believe that Ghanaians are going to vote him into power come December 7th, 2024. Randy, you were asking a question. I don't know if you...
Yes, my question still stands.
Yeah, please.
What's your
question again?
You said somebody has kept his promise to Ghanaians.
Of course.
Who are you talking about?
He on assumption of power in 2017.
Yes.
When rules were defined, when the government was put in place, he took upon himself an agenda to help in the formalization of our economy, and that he has done creditably.
That was the promise he made to Ghanaians.
Given what? I mean, the NPP as a party, the president under Article 58 was voted into power, and he had made a promise to Ghanaians. Every other person
who had made a promise to Ghanaians? I just want to understand you.
Every other person, like the president said during his State of the Nation address, any other person who serves or who continues to serve in this government is serving in an advisory capacity. So you were referring
to Akufo-Addo when you said he has kept his promise made to Ghanaians.
Oh, I'm referring to the vice president.
Yeah. So which promise did he make that he has fulfilled?
The president went on to say that it's true. The buck rests with him, but members of his government will take up projects, and when they run and get results, then it is just okay for them.
Let's move on. Let's move on.
So this is a fate that he has kept with you, and that is what he's promising.
Did you hear the president say that? Say something to the effect that is only whatever who will not take advice or listen to it. Did you hear that?
Yes. He said that as part of
in the State of the Nation.
I didn't think it was part of the speech because I've read the speech. I've read the speech in and out.
You didn't read that one?
That one I didn't.
Oh, you need to change your lens. Anyway. Anyway, let's go to energy.
My lens is perfectly okay.
I hope
My lens is perfectly
I hope so.
Honorable Edward Bawa this morning has painted a picture that will scare any Ghanaian watching. But truth be told, where I live, I don't think that there's I hear complaints and reports. When I drive in town in night times, I see areas that are out. Within the day, it's very difficult to determine. And these are challenges that for the system that we run. I am sure that everybody will understand that intermittently we'll have these challenges. I recollect that in the last week of January, GRICO had reported to us that there were challenges with gas supply. And typically, in the past, when we have said that these were financing challenges, in the past, when in 2016 we had over 320 hours of doom The NDC had said no, they weren't. But this time they want to tell us that they are funding issues. I won't run away from the fact that our energy sector itself, he referred to the watershed, and I keep reading the reports of KPMG on ESLA and all of that. There is some tweaking needed within the system. But then again, the operators and the people who run the system, sometimes some of the issues are well beyond them. There are two very principal factors that affect this whole system intermittently. One of them being the exchange rate, the dollar-CD parity. The fact that you are buying energy from the generators or the IPPs in dollars and you're selling in cedis. The timing, given the macroeconomic situation that we have had to deal with at least since 2022, requires that there is some special attention given to the treatment of exchange rate. I have read in the media in the last couple of days about some exchange rates that ECG itself has been using that people have alleged. I have seen some documents on social media, and I hope that we are able to investigate that and come out with what the reality of the situation is. Also, fuel itself, its cost, and how much we are buying these fuels at, is also quite a significant one. But it's the generality of this whole thing is when you have generated this power, you need to transmit it, you need to distribute it. Over time, we've been talking about, the systems that we run, the equipment that we run, the transmission and distribution losses, the illegal connections. These are all teething problems within the sector. And it's time that we are able to face it headlong. You go into the neighborhoods, it's true. We all use power, but how many of us are paying for what we are using? It's a major factor in all of these things. And if I am buying the energy from the IPPs in Forex, in dollars, and I'm selling cedis, and I'm losing so much within from generation, transmission, distribution, it calls for consent. And so no matter the system you put in place to recover whatever debts or whatever financial challenges we have in the sector, if you're not getting this right, if your transmission losses, if your distribution losses, if there's so much illegal connections, you can never get these things right. But the truth is that in the last couple of weeks, there have been challenges within the system. That's why I refer to the statement by GRIDCO in the last week of January, that they had some challenges with about 550 megawatts. Over the last weekend, a lot of, most parts of Accra, I think from Sunday, was off. They have also explained that there was a major fault in Malam. And given these teething problems, every now and again, there would be. Where I live, and I challenge you, Randy, you can open the phone lines. I hardly get my lights going off.
Where do you live?
In Yemboy Town. In Achimota, I hardly get my lights going off.
Okay, I live at Chado.
Yeah.
It always goes off.
Yeah, and you see, I'll tell you a story. A couple of years ago, mine has been maybe 2018 or 2019. Within my locality, every night the lights will go out. Apparently, somebody had figured out that there was something wrong with my local transformer. And somebody had taken it upon himself that when the transformer goes off, he'll go and put it on. He's taking it upon himself. So depending on his availability, when a light trips, if he's around, within 5 minutes, he'll go and put it on. If he's not around, we have to wait until he comes. Mm-hmm. So I engaged the area manager. And over time, we got somebody to... They did virtually everything. They couldn't actually figure out what the problem was. So somebody had to go and stand at the transformer to see what actually happens. It was only then we realized that there's somebody who is taking up this job. Depending on his availability, our lights will go off. And that's a serious thing to happen. These things will happen in the system every now and again.
Are you suggesting that?
No. I'm just giving a typical, and this is a real story. It happened to me.
No,
right?
I'm not saying your story is not true. I'm trying to situate the relevance of that story to what is happening.
All of this is because of the system that we have been running, the equipment, the response of the ECG to some of these faults over time, and all of that. So the teething problems will be coming every now and again. We all recognize that the level of investment in that sector is not being up to what it has to over the years, and then we are suffering the repercussions of lack of investment in the system. That's just one.
Let me ask you a question. You are a finance person. You're a finance person.
Not an energy person.
You're a finance person.
Because this is a financial issue.
This in fact, energy financing. Yeah. Let me find out from you. For which reason will a government decide to collateralize a levy? A levy which has been instituted in recognition of the fact that we have some debts in a sector, precisely energy. And so a levy has been instituted to help us defray. Yes, levy. Okay. To help us defray that debt. So Ghanaians pay anytime you go and buy fuel or whatever, there's an ESLA levy you pay. A government comes into office. Forget about the fact that it kicked against it and described it as a nuisance and all that. You forget about that. Let's even take it as politics. So forget about that. It comes into office and it decides that it will collateralize this one, turn it into bonds. Also forget about the fact that despite the fact that the ESLA levy is still being collected, it's giving the bondholders, he wants to give them a haircut if he's not giving them already. Although we are collecting the levy every day, but that's another matter. It decides that it wants to collateralize this in order to raise substantial funds to retire
once and for
this indebtedness once and for all, so that we can move on. Like the Americans say, breathe. Only for our indebtedness in that sector
to increase,
to quadruple. And previous reports suggest that we even use part of this money to pay tier 3 or tier 2 pensions, pensions and all that. Why would any government do that?
Randy, the government of the New Patriotic Party, like Bauer said, has managed to keep the light on, but at a huge cost.
I was quoting somebody here. I'm not saying that.
The reality is that we managed to keep the light on at a very huge cost. Collateralization, as you want to refer to it, it's normal government business. NDC did to funds like the GET Fund and all of that, and the road fund. The road fund I meant before we came into power. And when you do that collateralization, like you want us to believe, is for us to retire.
Not me. That's what the finance minister. You were in parliament.
It's for us to
retire. You were in parliament, in fact, so it's not me saying.
In fact, you sat in the committee that approved it.
Oh, Bauer. I'm not saying it didn't happen. It happened, but we had a purpose for it, right? Okay. But you see, then again, when you have to manage government and an economy, I mean, you know, and you should understand that there are times when priorities and you have to do things to be able to survive. We have kept this light on at a huge cost, given where we met this in 2017.
What is the challenges? What is the situation?
You are deliberately not answering my question. I say that I'm deferring to you when it comes to finance.
Yeah, and I've answered. I said collateralization is very...
No.
It's not...
That's not my question.
In governance and managing the economy.
My question was that...
It is not the first time...
My question was that I said...
Before we even came into government, they had collateralized the road fund.
And then there was results for it.
The road fund.
And there was results for it.
Same approach.
The road fund that was collateralized.
Yeah.
They didn't take any amount from that money to go and pay for Adwingo salt, the question I asked is, there's a levy. The levy was instituted by the NDC.
No, Kwame.
Yes. And we were supposed to be paying something to retire energy sector debts. The government that kicked against this thing and said it was nuisance, we were being overtaxed on that same tax handle, that levy, came into office and said that, look, this thing of waiting to pay the thing.
I think the point.
Let me finish. This thing of paying the thing over a long period. Look, we can create bonds, collateralize this thing, get the money, retire the thing once and for all, so that we can have a clean bill of health to move on. The government did this, and yet has not used the money for this purpose. And as we speak, our indebtedness in that sector is almost quadruple.
You see, Randy, the reason why our debt in that sector will keep going up, typically, what happened in Parliament last week? Typical. Edward here mentioned the fact
why didn't we retire
the debt?
Debt with the money we made from the collateralization?
Mentioned that MMDCs alone, right? Their contribution to the same debt that we are referring to is about 180 million.
No, but this is not what the question is asking.
These are the realities.
It's asking about the one that we ring-fenced. The debt that we ring-fenced.
These are the realities that we have to be facing. I have mentioned the fact that, and Edward even has alluded to the fact that exchange losses, accumulated exchange losses over time, it all adds up to the debt. When you have fixed rates for a long time, and then your cost of your inputs are going up. Not to even mention the fact that the exchange rate itself, given the macroeconomic situation that we've been faced with in the last 2 years or so. So it's all a plethora of factors why this debt will be accumulating. Over time, PURC itself have tried to do this adjustment intermittently. But then again, as a nation, we have had to make choices at every point in time. Are we saying that we are going to go the route of full recovery at every point in time, such that when there needs to be an adjustment in the prices of energy, we are going to put everything out? These are realities.
Why didn't we retire the debts with the money? Why?
This is how realities.
Why didn't we do that? That has nothing to do with forex. It has nothing to do with.
It's just a reality why our debts will keep rising. Thankfully.
But if we had utilized the money for the purpose for which we did what we did,
given that the same situations that led to the accumulation of the debt in the first place, we still haven't gotten out of it, because the same exchange losses that accumulated over time, the same fixed price for consumers whilst our inputs were going up, it will still be there.
Have you read?
Until we
have you read?
Until we go.
Have you read your 2016 manifesto on how to fix ECG?
Randy, until we get out of this vicious cycle,
right,
we will be faced with those challenges.
But who should do that?
And the first thing, what we have to do is to fix our macroeconomic situation.
Who should do that?
But of course we are seeing progress given where we have come from. In the last 2-3 years, where the exchange rate was, with the sort of challenges we had with the currency over time. Because one of the biggest challenges,
the exchange rate today?
One of the biggest challenges this sector has had to face is exchange rate and the stability of the city. It's the
but
biggest
it's not
thing,
new.
The inputs. And I'm saying that until we move away.
What I'm telling you is that you have exacerbated the situation by collateralizing a levy that you described as useless and not using the money for the purpose for which you collateralized it. Randy, that has compounded the problem. It's quadrupled our debt.
Randy.
And as we speak today, Randy, he was alluding to he being feeling sorry for whoever takes over in 2025.
Randy.
The truth, just a minute, I beg you. And you see, I've said this thing in the last 3 or 4 years. Look, This is the same way we handled Ghana's debt situation. Until one fateful day, we were told that the president had placed the call to the IMF boss. Anytime the issue of our debt situation came up, we had all manner of explanations and all manner of Ivy League expressions to tell us why people are wrong and we are on course and we are fine and everything, with Bible quotations and all that. We kept saying it, and that was the refrain until.
No. Randy, I beg to differ.
Oh no, I don't have a problem with you differing.
You see?
I don't have a problem with differing. The point I'm making to you is that how we are handling this indebtedness in the energy sector and creating the impression as if there's no clear and present danger.
No, nobody is saying that.
And saying things like, we have kept the lights on.
Yes,
we have kept the lights on. We have kept the lights on. I'm saying that it's the same attitude that led us to a DDEP.
No, Randy. I'll still say that we have kept the lights on at a great cost, but there are hidden underlying.
So what are
issues
the? Can you name the cost? What cost is it?
That needs to be resolved in the continuous depreciation of the city, and it's a major. In there is our
who's responsible for handling the city?
Our distribution, transmission. If you want to be the host, I think that you can swap seats with them. Right. If you want to be the host, you can swap seats with them, and then you can be putting the questions. For now, let me take his questions. Right. I was here when you were speaking. I was very quiet.
I hear you.
Then you can swap seats, and then you can. You see, until we are able to go beyond the teething problems. It will keep coming up. And then we have to still keep the lights on at an even greater cost. And that's the reality of it. We are having all these challenges because of some gas supply issues in Tema, some local faults like it happened in Malam over the weekend, and a plethora of others. But we have been promised by the managers of the system whatever it takes and whatever it's going to take to make sure that we don't go back to that era. Prior to 2017, we are going to do it and the lights are going to be on. That's a promise. And the lights
promise on the basis of what?
Oh, promise on the basis
the
of
government,
the same people who have managed
the same people who
have managed the system from 2017.
They have mismanaged it.
Oh.
They have mismanaged it, and the evidence is obvious.
Don't they have lights?
Oh, please.
Don't you have lights?
Fuseni, what are you talking about? It's the same. Look, Fuseni, things like this, they anger people.
Oh,
look,
right.
When the issue of Ghana's debt, when the issue of Ghana's debt came up, anytime, just hold on. Anytime the issue of the debt came up, people say, we are paying salaries. Nurses' allowance is being paid. Free SHS is being paid. The economy is whatever. Anytime people pointed to our debt situation, like I said, until one day, even when they said, we need to go to the IMF now, before it's too late. We need to go to the IMF now,
all of this
before it's too late.
Were no issues until about 2020 when
Who said that?
Stuck. Ask him.
Fuseni, in 2019, in 2019, the minority held a presser.
Yeah.
You sat in this chair. I don't know if you were in this one or that one. 2019, you on this program, you sat here. Maybe I'll pull the video and play it for you. What you said about the minority when they raised issues about this our debt situation and all that, and the Bank of Ghana had come in to issue a certain statement and all that. The things that you guys said.
Randy,
and you always, anytime the people raise the issue of the economy, you will point to NAPCO. We are paying NAPCO. We are paying this. We are paying that. Same thing we are doing with the energy thing.
No,
anytime people point to this unsustainable debt levels, they will say, oh, we've kept the lights on. We're keeping the lights on at what cost?
Because we realize that
waiting for the thing to go bust.
For us,
so that if one player threatens, then you go and find some 30 million for the person. And so we are just
I don't think
we're just covering the kind of rot that we have.
Shared system in place. It's been referred to time and again. Why it is not giving us the results that we expect? Because it is supposed to be in very simple terms. It is a basket that all.
Are you aware that
and it's a formula?
Are you aware that thing? Are you aware that is under the auspices of a vice president? Are you aware?
I am not.
Yes, go and check. It's under the auspices of a vice president.
I am not aware. But this is what I shared system. Why we are not getting the results.
It's because it's under what do you call it?
It's very simple. In very simple things. The water shared system is supposed to be a basket. All the revenues come in there, and there's a
water flow mechanism.
There's a formula for us to be able to distribute it to the relevant service providers for the system. And when GRICO has the IPPs, or everybody will have its share. And so these are the issues that we should be tackling. And once we get them going, we should be able to resolve the underlying problems.
Randy,
that's a reality.
Randy,
he
constantly uses the word,
and if you have a perfect system running.
If you realize,
we don't have a perfect system. Okay. We don't have a perfect system. No, because over time, we know over time. In fact, I short of I wouldn't even go there but short of we know this whole system needs to be. For lack of revolutionized to a certain extent. Else we will continue to have this. But the promise from the managers of the system is that, look, whatever it takes for us to have the lights on, because we have experienced periods that we didn't have the lights on, and its repercussions on the economy was so great that we cannot afford to go back to those days. So whatever it takes to keep the lights on, this government is going to do.
Mima Kunta is not good. You are the finance person. And I am telling you.
And I'm telling you that my response to you
if you have a sector and you keep piling debts, and you are now, for the IPPs alone, the electricity subsector, you are looking at $2 billion. The same thing, we are keeping the lights. The same thing we said, we are paying NAPCO, we are paying teacher training, we are paying this, that.
You see,
when it got bust, the same NAPCO that we were talking about, we realized that 9 months we couldn't pay NAPCO.
The first thing
we realized that
teacher training,
we couldn't pay.
The first thing we need to do in the system is to ensure that the debt accumulation will cease. Then we can address the already existing debt.
What you did to stop the accumulation. What you did to stop the accumulation, which was the collateralization of ESLA with the bonds.
One of the things we need to
you blew the money.
One of the things we need to do is to work on the stability of the currency. Relatively, we've had a relative.
Isn't that one of the promises that were
relatively made that we've had stable currency. I said relatively.
Relative to what?
Relative to prior to 2017.
When you are not even paying your when you are not even paying your number one expenditure.
2017, when the average depreciation was much higher than what we've experienced since 2017. So once we are able to have a hang on this, and then the exchange rate losses is kept to the minimum, then we can.
There's something about soft-spoken people.
Yeah,
some of these things we still have a hang on it, and right.
He keeps saying the same things in different forms.
The good thing is
your lights
are on.
Of course.
Of course. Randy, if you observe,
as the managers of Metro, ask your managers.
About what?
Every day they will prefer being connected to the grid than running a generator. Every day you will prefer being connected to the national grid.
If you listen to him,
because of the cost implications,
he's constantly used the he's constantly
so
used.
These are the realities of our times.
He's constantly
but with over time. I mean, I
deal with the underlying factors. Constantly, he uses the word this in the phrase underlying factors. It's difficult to communicate for government at times like this. But let me make this point.
But are you saying that there are no underlying factors?
I'm going to deal with the underlying factors.
But they are very obvious to everybody.
Oh, yes, they are obvious, and that's why I'm going to deal with it. Because they're obvious, that's why I'm dealing with it. Look, first, it is true that we had an underlying factor that was accumulation of debt. And we also had another factor that had to do with the distribution end, because they could not account for the money to pay the others. So these were two major underlying factors. What did the government do then? Said first, to deal with the debt, let's ensure that all the debt we have in the sector, let's ring-fence it, and then introduce what we call the Energy Sector Levy Act that will bring out money. Indeed, as at the end of because for the 2023 report, you know that they're supposed to be bringing the report to us. ESLA has to report the performance of this into Parliament on annual basis. As at 2022, the end December 31, ESLA, they realized 6.7 billion
cedis.
6.7 billion. So the government then said that, look, based on the projections they had made, that in 5 years, and that's why if you look at the initial act that established ESLA, there was a sunset clause that was supposed to be just for 5 years. The projection was that in 5 years we would have retired all the indebtedness. That's what they call the legacy debt. So we retired that. Whilst dealing with that, we're also going now to see how do we stop the bleeding. And so that's how the Compact 2. We decided to opt for the Compact 2. If you recall, after the Compact 1, we went for the Compact 2. That brought the PDS. Because of corruption. Because of because of corruption, because of unbridled quest for wealth, just simple procurement process made us lose this amount of money.
So there was going to be a two-pronged approach. One is to deal with the ECG situation, which is what brought PDS. And the other was that government wanted a faster approach to the ESLA 5-year thing. They wanted a faster approach. So let's collateralize it. Let's sell the bonds so that we can have maybe monies that you expect to have in 5 years. We can have it today and retire so that we move on. So those were the two ways we were going to do it. We've bungled both.
Yes. And in fact, and you know what they've done? Not only was it that now the ESLA, the tenure of ESLA was then extended to 10 years.
Yes, an extension of 5 more years.
5 more years. Yes. So Ghanaians are still constantly paying for monies that actually the sector does not get.
So you say you received the ESLA report.
Yes.
Does the report not tell you where the money goes to?
The report gives you see.
Annually your reports come to.
Yeah, they come.
Yes.
You see, part of it is used in servicing the debt through the ESLA PLC.
Okay.
So they use part to do that. Remember that part is also, if you look at the ESLA, it's not every amount that is committed to the payment of the debt. Part of it is used in pay, for example, even a street lighting and other things.
Yes.
So those reports have been made. But the point I'm just trying to make is that those monies, even though they come, the sector actually does not benefit from it. Because we've already collected the money ahead of time and spent it.
Now I'm saying the money we collected.
Yes.
We didn't. Yes.
Yeah, that's the point. You see, we didn't use it. We didn't apply it for what we were. So, look, do you know that all the Minister of Finance, and I'll give a typical example that had to do with BOST. So BOST was owing GNPC an amount of 100 million Ghana cedis. Then one day they just sit down, and then what do you call it? Minister of Finance writes to BOST that, oh, we've paid that your $100 million, your 100 million Ghana cedis. So you don't owe GNPC again. We go to GNPC, and the document does not prove that. They still have it as part of the debt that BOST has on them. You ask them, they say, oh, it's because we've not done rationalization. So sometimes you do not even know exactly how these monies were spent. And if you took about 10 billion in bonds to retire a debt that was roughly around 2-point-something billion, let's say with other projections to do other things, I shouldn't be talking to you about legacy debt. I shouldn't be talking to you about accumulation of debt. And that is exactly what is being done. Look, he goes on to say that, part of it is because of fuel supply changes. Look, you know that in terms of the fuel, there are two things. For Ghana Gas, because it's a state entity, they will definitely make the gas available. Because if they say they won't make the gas available, the guy will be in trouble. So they'll make the gas available. Unfortunately, the transporter, that is WAPCO, is owned by shareholders that, of course, even though Ghana is part of it, but there are other shareholders. And therefore, for them, they give you have a window, a credit period that you need to pay. If you do not pay for it, they will come and shut the pipeline. That is one of them. So you are not paying for it. So it comes back to the financing issue. Now, Nigeria has said that, look, because of your history of not paying us for the gas we supply, we now will demand payment on delivery. And because they are unable to do that, because for the Ghana gas, for the Nigerian gas, it is a contract between VRA and what do you call it? And gas. It is between VRA, but VRA actually does not use the gas. VRA is only the signatory to the contract, but because of the arrangement they did, they take the gas and give it to Asogli to run. Now, Asogli does not get the payments from ECG when they supply power. So they are unable to give money to Asogli from the ECG. Asogli is not able to give to VRA, and VRA is not able to pay in gas.
And that's all the shortfalls of the water system.
Meanwhile, gas, that's fuel, is a pass-through cost. That's the argument we're just making. It is not like we are spending something that we have not budgeted for. When you go and pay your electricity bill, as part of the thing, the variable cost, fuel is part of it. Every bit of it is charged. So if you charge me for fuel and you cannot account for that, don't tell me that.
But you see, Bar, when I say underlying issues, our transmission losses, distribution losses, ECG itself collection.
Now, who illegal? So how do you take the system?
These are problems.
Look, how do you take the
system?
These
are inherent problems.
Look, maybe after this I'll give you.
These are inherent problems.
How do you inherit a system?
How
do you inherit a system that was having 23%? How do you inherit a system? Mm-hmm. I'm using just ECG alone. Mm-hmm. That had 23% losses. Mm-hmm. Then today, you are talking of 34% losses.
You see,
the same entity.
Then again, Randy, when it comes to some of those figures, I am quite apprehensive because I have seen releases purported
I'll just show you. Don't worry.
Load shedding levels that were not authentic. What the figures, Bawa, is I am aware that at a point we had distribution losses of 23%. That's real. As what it is today, I don't know.
Will you be shocked if you find out that it's indeed 34% today?
Oh, my earlier point is that over time, the equipment that we run in the system, ECG will tell you, they need to be upgraded and all of that. That one we all know, we all see. It's very visible. But if you're running a system that has that level of transmission losses, that's a quarter of the power that you generate, and it's not getting to the consumers, and so you are not charging anybody for it. Even for the 75% or the 70% that gets to the consumers, just a fraction of them are paying for what they consume. So these are.
So what will you say? What will you say to somebody? What will you say to somebody who says that there was an entity that was making
Parliament was weighing how much? 23 million.
Yes. So there's an entity that was making 23% losses.
Yeah.
You promised to do better. And now the entity is making 34% losses. How do you explain?
Let me even I was just trying to retrieve this document, but I just saw
I keep telling you.
I wanted to share with you in this ECG's presentations. I want to share with you here. I just have the figures for 2020 to 2022. For the 2023, I was trying to look for it. I'll get it for you. You had in 2020, 26.20. In 2021, 29.31. In 2022, 30.63. And this is a presentation by, you see it, Electricity Company of Ghana, presentation on ECG's 2023 work program to Parliamentary Select Committee on Mines and Energy. On yearly basis, you are having this, and the figure we have now.
The document is dated March 23.
Yes, but they were giving us the figures for 2020. That's what I'm saying. They were giving us the 2022. Again, Napos.
But you see, it just comes out to the same points that I'm making.
You have been voted into power after you made the same points after you made noise and said you were going to resolve the issue of the power. What was it? All you did was just to you just scammed us. You scammed us.
What do you mean?
You scammed us. Look,
you presented a manifesto to the good people of Ghana. We did say.
That was a scam. That was the tool you used in scamming us.
And based on that.
That was the tool you used in scamming us.
They kept faith with us. So now, how do you turn back to say noise? Were you also making noise?
That one. That you said
your presentation to the people in Ghana in 2016 wasn't noise?
No, but we improved the state. Oh, we did.
Really?
We did.
How?
We did.
How?
And if you
how is that? By keeping us in Dumzo in 4 or 5 years? Was that an improvement you want everybody to believe?
Again, if you want us to take up that debate on Dumzo.
No, but you said if you want to take that's your record.
So the record
was of the NDC.
You see, you are intellectual. You are an intellectual.
No, but
you see, you don't get up. You see, you are an intellectual. You don't just take a symptom and deal with it. What was the cause of the Dumzo?
That is why.
What was the cause of the Dumzo?
That is why. Rather than
in 2006. No, in 2006.
Underline. That's why I keep
in 2006 when we had the problem,
we
never solved it.
That is why today I sit here. And I'm saying, I rather than just talk about the symptoms like you want us to do.
And that's why John Mahama decided, John Mahama took responsibility and dealt with it instead of trying to pretend to be a driver mate.
Rather than you realize it's been very obvious that we kept signing.
I believe the Ghanaians are watching you.
We kept signing one IPP after the other to reportedly solve our generation problem.
Which we did.
At a time.
Which we did.
At a time. Were you going to say, I recollect
yes,
the former president telling us that it was an act of God that had led to the Dumzo situation because some uncle had broken the gas pipeline.
That was one of the causes, yes.
So it wasn't...
No.
It wasn't...
But that was just for 3 months. But we had a problem where the sustain... Look, we had a situation where our installed generation capacity was 1,850.
You have been in the sector.
1,850.
You have been in the sector long enough. I mean, at the time you were spokesperson.
That's not the issue.
No. I mean, at the time you were spokesperson.
Yeah.
What I want us to do, and what we should do, putting Ghana first, is talking about the systems that we run.
And you didn't know about these systems? You didn't know about these systems?
They have been there.
When your president 2 days ago came and still was trying to say that Ghana was in darkness for how many years and whatever, and not addressing the real issues.
Those are facts.
So why is it that when I'm not talking? So you are saying that actually we're looking at the symptoms today, but we're looking at the causes.
We were in darkness for 4 years. And do we want to go back? No.
So the state of Ghana.
Because we don't want to go back.
So a president.
We need to fix our currency.
Because we don't want to go back. A president in addressing his people.
Yeah.
In all candor and honesty.
Yeah.
Talks about keeping the lights on for 7 years.
Sure. And that's a fact.
But doesn't tell the people the implications
of what he's doing.
He went on to mention
what?
The negotiations that has been happening with
IPPs. Which negotiations?
How to get some of the contracts we
do you remember this?
I'll give you.
Are you not tired?
We need to take a break.
Are you not tired of this?
We need to take a break. When we return, there are some alphabets. There are some alphabets in Rainbow that we need to look at. If you have not seen alphabets in a rainbow manner, that's what we'll be discussing after the break. Right, welcome back to the show. If you just joined us, this is Good Morning Ghana live on Metro TV. Still with me on the show, I have the Honorable Edward Bauer and the Honorable Issa Fuseni. Now, what does wealth mean to you? Do you want to live like a tycoon? Remember, I was God the Mullah, got the power. Ghana's newest lottery game draws live on Adom TV at 9 a.m., 12 noon, and 6 p.m. daily. Now, pick up your phones, tablets, and computers and download the Game Park Games app on Play Store. You can also play on their websites at www.gameparkgames.com or by dialing *946# on all networks. Just choose 4 numbers from 0 to 9. It's easy to play and easy to win. Charlie, make we play this game and make some moolah. Nobody beats our odds in Ghana. Game Park Games, more moolah, more power. This game is regulated by the National Lottery Authority, not for persons under 18. Play responsibly. Ayesoko, Dako Somudan be big, but Betway's cash out be bigger. Betway is giving you more control over every thrilling bet you place. Enjoy the biggest and most reliable cash out in Ghana on Betway without any hassle. Sign up today at betway.com.gh. Terms and conditions apply. This is not for persons under 18. It's regulated by the Gaming Commission of Ghana. Betway, get way more. And charcoal has essential medicinal properties that help remove toxins from our bodies. The natural absorptive property of charcoal helps to remove the bacteria that produces bad breath in the mouth, hence giving you a fresh breath. Kel Charcoal toothpaste has been formulated and produced under strict hygienic conditions with all the necessary production protocols and has been approved by the Food and Drugs Authority. Constant use of Kel Charcoal toothpaste gives you a good fresh breath, whiter teeth, reduces dental plaque, makes the gum healthy and strong, prevents cavity, upset stomach, hangover, and so on. Kel Charcoal toothpaste is recommended for adults and children from 6 years and above. Kel Charcoal toothpaste for white teeth and fresh breath all day long. This is another quality product from Samara Company Limited. Kel Charcoal toothpaste, happy smile. And Blue Jeans energy drink has been on the Ghanaian market for over 20 years. We already know what it does for the body. It contains vitamins and nutrients like vitamin B2, B3, B6, B12, as well as taurine and guarana, which are known to boost your strength and energy as well as promote high performance and endurance. Blue Jeans energy drink has been tested and tried. It is indeed the best. Blue Jeans energy drink is for bold and active men and women. So go on, grab a cold can and power your day. It's in shops nationwide. For bulk purchases, contact Budget Cash and Carry Limited on 0208 128 190 055 001 0000. And let me talk to you about the NIBS Future Ready Leadership Summit. The future is here, but where is the leadership? That's a big question. The maiden edition of the Future Ready Leadership Summit, dubbed Reimagining Leadership in a World of Unrelenting Change, with very inspiring speakers such as Sam Jonah, Dr. George Ajekum Donko, Professor Kwekwe Tuahenijima, and many distinguished speakers built to speak on that day. The summit will come off on the 13th of March, 2024 at the Mövenpick Ambassador Hotel at 8 a.m. For tickets of the event, kindly contact 0267 349 147 or 0244 202 949. This is the NIBS Future Ready Leadership Summit. The question once again, the future is here. Where is the leadership? We'll find out at this summit. Okay, so we are aware that Parliament passed a bill, okay, and it's called the Proper Human Sexual Rights and Ghanaian Family Values Bill, which is popularly known as the Anti-LGBTQ plus bill. Now, after this bill, there's been a lot of talk about it. We had some civil society persons raise some human rights issues about this bill. But interestingly, over the weekend, the Ministry of Finance had a document which made the rounds, which speaks about us losing some, or not being able to access some $3.6 billion over a 6-year period because some of Bretton Woods institutions and some other partners have threatened to withdraw some support to us. And the finance minister, Dr. Aminat, is he Alaji? Dr. Aminat, is he Alaji?
I believe I think
He's allergy.
He's been to Mecca.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the finance ministry headed by Dr. Alaji Amin Anta. Fuseni is not yet Alaji. Dr. Amin Anta. And interestingly, the finance ministry, the one kind of writer, can I call him an Osofo?
Pastor.
Was he
evangelist? He's evangelist. Okay. No, I think he's an elder. He's actually an elder. He's an elder in this church.
Let's leave it. Let's leave it. Okay, so
you're speculating.
The Quran replaced the Bible at the finance ministry. Yeah. Okay, so that the finance ministry is supposed to have written to the president, urging him not to assent the bill, not to assent it into law. Yes, for those reasons, and that they are urging the president not to do so. Okay. Now, yesterday, the president decided to speak on the matter, to sign or not to sign. Let's watch President Akufo-Addo.
I'm aware that last week's bipartisan passage by Parliament of the Proper Human Sexual Rights and Ghanaian Family Values Bill on a private member's motion has raised considerable anxieties in certain quarters of the diplomatic community and among some friends of Ghana, that she may be turning her back on her hitherto enviable, long-standing record on human rights observance and attachment to the rule of law. I want to assure you that no such backsliding will be contemplated or occasioned. I think it will serve little purpose to go at this stage into the details of the origin of this proposed law, which is yet to reach my desk. But suffice it to say that I have learned that today a challenge has been mounted at the Supreme Court by a concerned citizen to the constitutionality of the proposed legislation. In the circumstances, it would be as well for all of us to hold our hands and await the decision of the court before any action is taken. The operation of the institutions of the Ghanaian state will determine the future trajectory of the rule of law and human rights compliance in our country. Excellencies, as you all know, this year is an election year. On 7th December, the Ghanaian people will elect a new president and a new parliament. The term of the present parliament expires at the end of the year, and I am in the last year of the permissible 8 years that a citizen can exercise the functions of president. The Akufo-Addo-led government is clear about its obligation and duty to ensure that the impending elections are conducted in an atmosphere of peace and security.
All right, so prospective allergy, can I call you that? Okay. I mean, I've known you. I know that from your childhood. You don't play with your pillars of Islam and all that, your prayers and everything. I don't know what has delayed your pilgrimage, but I know when you are ready, you go.
Randy.
What did the president say?
Randy, this bill, I think that we are still mixing its the long title. Repeatedly, I've heard proper human sexual rights.
It's proper.
But I have seen a copy that's making the rounds. There a long title reads Human Sexual Rights and Family
Yes, yours is correct.
Mine is correct.
Yes. Initially, there was a proper. But then people said that was subjective. So it was taken off.
What was proper and what was not proper.
Yes, so the proper was taken off.
Open up for.
So what you read is the correct.
I think this bill is one of the bills that has been very topical. Perhaps in this last parliament, and maybe E-Levy was also up there, but
with the
it has attracted.
With the exception of Afenyo Markin's last minute thing he tried to do in Parliament, I've not seen any
opposition to it.
Yeah, on the floor.
Before the second reading, the consultations that went round.
Yes.
We had civil society people coming up, the advocacy by people like Moses Efuameni, the media. It's been quite dragging, and it's been quite.
Oh, okay. I thought you were referring to the House.
No,
that actually got a lot of people interested.
True.
In where we're going to go with this.
True.
But the right thing is that it was passed by a bipartisan decision.
Yes.
I mean, both sides of the House have decided. And for me, as a people, we have decided to go this route.
In fact, I'm told that the document, as approved by Parliament,
Had input from Attorney
had
General.
input from the Attorney General.
True.
Where the Attorney General looked at issues areas where they thought that there could be some issues, whether constitutional or whatever.
True.
And also made some proposals, met with the committee and all that.
True.
So what we have, in fact, is not something that was just rushed through. It's something that has... So I'm told that when you look at the original version that was submitted in Parliament, and what we have now, you see that it's undergone a lot of changes, taking into cognizance.
That's a significant
It's a huge
to realize,
executive input.
A lot of times, bills as they come into Parliament and as they leave, when you put the two side by side, they are significantly different.
Yeah.
And so at the time the Attorney General made inputs before it was late, and what has come out, I am sure that at the consideration stage, a lot of things, because look, clause by clause, it's read in Parliament, MPs give their opinions, sometimes it's even voted on, and then a decision is taken by the House, clause by clause, for us to arrive at where we are. The good thing is that this law is bipartisan. We all agree, and most Ghanaians, I think I've heard to the extent about 98% of Ghanaians are in favor of this, of something of this nature. But you see, the president has made his stance very clear. He did make it clear somewhere in the Ashanti region when he had gone to one church, subsequent to his granting of some interview on the international media. So he had to come here and expressly state what he feels about this whole act of human sexuality, if you like. Me, I was born, bred up, everything in me is a Muslim. And I was a Muslim first before becoming a politician. And so I am guided in my politics by the religion that I practice. So some of these things, it is not we all are in favor that as a society, we make clear the tenets by which we want to live. If society had agreed that taking someone's property without permission is stealing, and so we all agreed, and it's in our criminal code, and what should be done to people who perpetrate such acts, it is the way society has to go, and that is where we are now. But in looking at where we are now, you see, the president has a unique situation, or he occupies a unique position to be the father or the man in the saddle at this point in time. When I first saw the release from the Ministry of Finance, given where we have come from in the last 2-3 years, given the level of instability we had in this economy, given where we had inflation at, where our currency was performing, given our reserves and all of that, I think that the president occupies a unique situation to be able to make sure that we do the right things at the right time. This whole thing, it's Parliament has done its bit, but there are processes that needs, or this bill will have to go through in this presidential accent. It gets to the president within 7 days. If he's unable to, or if he doesn't do it, he has to take it back to the Council of State, another 30 or so days. They are all processes that we have all agreed. I think that we shouldn't jump the gun. We should allow, just as we have patience for this bill to go through processes within Parliament. First, second,
the president
third,
said something. I want you to help me understand it.
Certainly. I'll get there.
In fact, he has printed out his whole meeting.
Just as we all had the patience to allow this bill to go through the processes in Parliament. I think we should allow it to finish other processes within the executive, which are awaiting the assent of the president. I mean, our constitution gives specific provisions, whether Article 106, 109, and then 108, and then even Article 90. There are still provisions that these bills will have to go through. So let us allow this bill to go through these processes, and then by the time it is done, we all, just as at this point, have supported this bill through, we all will come. But you see, what the president said is that the bill is not even at the president. What typically happens is that when Parliament is done with this process, it has to go to the Assembly Press. It is the only authorized printing press to be able to clean this thing up. If you look at the copy in the public, the font size, the structure, everything is all over the place. It's only the Assembly Press that has the legal authority to be able to print and prepare this before it is transmitted. No, you're laughing, but that's a reality. Am I lying? You cannot take it to a private.
But what does Assembly Press got to do with this?
No, it's a legal. It is the only legal.
When the president signs, it is law.
It is law.
Wait. But
so E-Levy did that.
You see,
they took it to Assembly Press.
When the president assents, it's law.
The president.
In your constitution, did you see
when the
Assembly President?
When the president, oh no, that's the.
We know it's the problem. I'm saying that when Parliament approves and the president assents, it's law.
It is in the standing orders, right?
Which you standing orders?
I don't know whether the revised standing orders actually capture
standing orders.
What the situation is now is that the president says, like, even before this bill gets to my desk for my attention and accent, I'm aware, or it's come to my notice, that there are other citizens of Ghana who are dissenting on some maybe provisions within the law. Then again, with the arms of government that we have, the legislature is done its, the executive has to assent to it. But if there is some challenge within the judiciary, it is very important.
Who says that?
The president says it's come to his attention.
First of all, I want to understand which law the president is relying on, or which precedent or convention is relying on.
It doesn't have to be a law. But you see, it doesn't have to be a law.
Is it a convention?
You see, at yesterday's event,
or a precedent?
Maybe just to supply with some information.
At yesterday's event.
You see, no, I'm just saying, for example, you see what we popularly call the ganja law that we passed.
Yes.
You know, it was accepted too.
Yes.
Yeah.
But somebody went to court. So it did not prevent the court issue. You know, there was a court issue.
Yes.
But the president made it. And when the court took a different decision, the law was brought back to Parliament and we readjusted it. So the two of them are not.
If you look at Article 108, right, a private member's bill, in the opinion of the person presiding in Parliament,
yes,
in the person's opinion,
yes,
should not have a charge on the consolidated
yes.
fund. That's the provisions of the Constitution.
Yes, and that's exactly why Attorney General was brought in.
That's the opinion of the person presiding.
The Speaker.
So I presume that private members' bill will have to be accompanied by an opinion of the Speaker, the executive.
No.
The determination is not done by the Speaker.
No. The opinion of the person presiding, in this case the Speaker, is in the admissibility or otherwise of it. Once that is done,
that's all.
Certain. So, in the opinion of the Speaker. But then again, I was thinking, so is the opinion of the Speaker sacrosanct? I don't know. That I don't know.
Same way the Constitution.
That I don't know.
Same way the Constitution also vests some of these powers in the president. Whether you agree with the exercise by the president or not.
You see, the provisions on Article 108, it's specific.
Yes.
President has 7 days.
Yes.
Assent to it.
Yes.
If he doesn't,
yes,
he probably will refer it to the Council of State.
Yes.
Even the Council of State, there are specifics.
Yes.
Within 30 days.
Yes.
They have to.
So why
if they don't do that, they have to
is it so? So what I want to understand, Chief, what I want to understand is that I'm not a lawyer.
Neither am I.
No, I'm not a lawyer.
Neither am I.
But when it comes to the law, we know the standing of His Excellency the President. So with the 108 that you have graciously quoted for us, why is the President referring to
Don't you think that
something non-existent to oust his constitutional obligation?
what is non-existent? The bill?
No, what he refers to, that somebody has gone to court.
Okay.
And therefore, his view is that everybody should stay off their hands until the determination by the Supreme Court.
You see.
You are
Randy,
saying, you
Randy,
no,
Randy,
Chief,
Randy,
you have
Randy.
pointed us to 108,
Yeah.
which deals with this issue. And it tells you the process, it lays out the process. Now, the President is introducing a process which is not in 108.
Which is alien.
That is why I'm
alien
asking
alien to the thing.
where that thing is coming from.
I am sure that at the event that the President spoke yesterday, it was a meeting of diplomats, typical year-end meetings that they have. And given some of the responses we have so far, given the reactions to this bill, you see, the President occupies a unique, he stated his stance on this whole thing, that legalization of same-sex marriages and homosexuality won't happen under his watch. That is on public record.
But that's not what we are dealing with.
What we are dealing with now is that we also have a situation at hand that him as the President needs to manage the whole of the economy. Given what the Finance Minister or the projected, the potential implications of this act on our economy, nobody can gloss over that. Nobody should. Actually, nobody should. Given where we have come from in the last 2 years. So the President occupies this is his belief. This is what he wants to do. This is what he believes the people of Ghana wants to do. And the people of Ghana have entrusted him with the power to do what they want to do. And he has said that
the people at the finance
he is
ministry.
with the people.
The people at the finance ministry.
Yeah.
The minister and the deputies there. Aren't all of them MPs?
MPs. So why did they
Are
get
all of them not members of parliament?
Yeah.
When the thing was being done in parliament, when they are aware of this analysis.
And I don't know at which stage of the consideration, which is the second reading, or the third reading, that the Minister of Finance could have come out with.
I'm not even asking them in their capacity as finance minister.
When bills go
it was on the floor.
When bills go to parliament,
hold on. It was on the floor of parliament. It was on the floor of parliament.
Right.
It was on the floor of parliament.
And the memorandum explains.
Hold on. It was on the floor of parliament.
Yeah.
That Dr. John Kuma, who is a pastor, I hope you are aware of that.
In fact, he's a founder of a church.
I hope you are aware of that. It was on the floor of parliament.
Yeah.
That he stood and said that we were not going to go to the IMF today or tomorrow, we won't go whatever. I am saying that all the people who are serving as the finance ministry, who superintended this thing, when they are aware of all these facts,
the president
throughout the period that the thing was being debated, the
president has said that everybody in the government, everybody who is serving in his government, is there to advise him. Our constitution. I recollect in July 2022. When we had decided to go to the IMF, in the words of the finance minister, on the authority of the president, he has been instructed to engage the fund. He had said publicly what he believed in. But at the end of the day, Article 58 here, the executive authority of Ghana shall vest in the president and shall be exercised in accordance with the provisions of this constitution. So once the president is, what he's doing is unconstitutional. He has that executive.
So you have helped me once again. With respect to what you have read. With respect to what you have read.
Yeah.
Where is the president taking that power and authority? That says that, contrary to 108 and 58, when somebody has gone to the Supreme Court, everybody should stay their hands until determination.
No.
Where is that inspiration from?
That is not necessarily. You see?
But that's what he said.
If the president, really, the reality of the situation is that if the president today There are two possible outcomes when the bill gets to the president. But I believe that from what he has said, from the president that I know, he will assent to the bill.
He will
But
assent.
you see, in assenting to the bill, right now, it is tantamount to preempting what the court would do. Because then again, the president would have shown.
Let me read this to you. Let me read
It would be
this to you.
tantamount to preempting
Let me read this to you.
the judgment from the court.
So this is a post by the MP for, is it not Osada, Peki? Where is Peki?
Who?
Roxin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a
South
Saudi.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, South Day. It says the procedure to veto a bill is clear. The president can't injunct himself from carrying out his constitutional function upon his receipt of the anti-LGBTQ plus bill as passed by Parliament, based on some hearsay court action. Now listen to this. It says, we are in the Supreme Court against the E-Levy Act, but he signed it.
See, if we had waited, you see, in this instance, right, coming back to this instance, the reality is that President assents to the bill today, becomes law. He has preempted what the
Why?
Supreme Court, because
What about
because irrespective of whether or not the matter was in court, he had shown his opinion.
Are you aware? Are you
He's shown
aware?
his opinion.
Are you aware?
Yeah. So
That
what
the
the president is saying
no,
is that
are you aware that the
let's
president of the
allow-
republic, hold on.
Yeah.
Are you aware that the president of the republic, upon receipt of a private member's bill from parliament, accented to law, it went to your assembly press?
Our assembly press, not mine.
Because you alluded to it. It
our
went there
assembly press.
for gazetting. For gazetting.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, 2 or 3 months after,
Then, yes.
the president now writes to the speaker
Speaker says
to
that.
say that
Hey,
all someone that were the witchcraft one,
Witchcraft
plus
one.
the one that he had assented into law and the thing had gone to advert press, that all of that he is unable to assent to. The thing he had assented to already.
And he put a reason to it.
No, it's not even the reason. I'm saying that you read the timelines and everything. It
Yeah.
was completely out of question. But I'm just telling you that happened. Now, instructively, as Honorable the former says, when they went to court, this is not somebody, a certain Kwashi Kumi somewhere, who is supposed to have gone to court. When the minority in parliament served notice and indeed went to court, it did not stay the president's hands in approving the e-levy. So that's why I asked you,
You
which
recollect-
law
you
or
recollect-
precedent or convention was the president relying on?
You recollect that the e-levy itself had been in Parliament for a very long time. From November, when the budget for 2021 was taken to Parliament. Parliament, in its own wisdom, decided that they were going to pass part of the Appropriation Act because they passed the expenditure bit. Meanwhile, the principal revenue handles were held on for 6 months. And that is one of the reasons, or the principal reason, why we had that level of instability in 2022. Because government was spending to keep the country afloat. Meanwhile, the tax handle that was supposed to bring in revenues had been suspended for 5-6 months. And we're in that straits at the time. It was quite crucial. Are you going to say that the exigencies of the time then, relative to this law that we want to be time tested, this law that we all have yearned for?
you're talking here that's
I don't really think, Edward, why are you preempting my? I think that
those of you
yeah,
who believe that you are closer to God, who believe that you made vows to God, and who believe that those vows must be, I mean, whether you are able to redeem your vow to God or not in your lifetime is your matter. But the simple thing I want to tell you, and for anybody who's hearing me, is that God judges motives. And you can try to outsmart human beings and try to play smart with human beings.
I don't think anybody is playing smart.
You cannot outsmart God.
I don't
God
think
judges motives.
I don't think, and I won't agree with you to the extent that somebody's being
You
smart.
don't agree that God judges motives.
See, I started off by saying that, look, the president is in a unique situation. This is what he is on record. He supports this wholeheartedly. But in supporting this, there's also the reality.
Sign it. Let the Supreme Court. Let the Supreme Court say that.
This is going to. This is a
I'm
law,
saying that
that's a law that Ghanaians.
The president does not have.
This is going to apply to Ghanaians.
So, Issa, let me tell you
so
this.
If a Ghanaian,
let me tell you
if
this.
One Ghanaian,
the president, if the thing gets onto a table under the Constitution, has no right.
Why even
just hold on.
this?
Just hold on.
It's
just
not
hold
even
on.
on the president.
It is the president who has decided to speak about it.
Let me tell you what the president.
Right.
The president has no right to say that on the basis of the fact that somebody has gone to the Supreme Court, he will not act on it and will wait. The Constitution does not allow the president to take that decision on the basis of somebody going to court.
I'm saying
that's just the point I'm making.
And my point is also that. The lawyers keep saying that, look, it is even good for one guilty person to be let free than one innocent person to be incarcerated.
Yes.
So if there is one person who needs to be heard, who will have their day in court to be heard, before we finalize this, what's the haste?
Where in the Constitution?
What is the haste?
Where in the Constitution?
What is the haste?
Does the president?
Certainly.
The question I'm asking you is that
certainly
the president takes his power from the Constitution. When it comes to private members' bill, where does the Constitution empower the president to, upon a case being filed at the Supreme Court, decide to stay his hands off until the determination of the matter? Where?
The reality, Randy, is that
the Constitution is clear on. It doesn't say that the president must sign by all means. The Constitution is even clear that if the president has some reservations, he tells him what to do. So if the president has reservations with it, he should follow what the Constitution says. He shouldn't create a new this thing about staying off your hands because somebody is supposed to have gone to Parliament.
The 7 days will start counting when the bill has been transmitted.
So why is he preempting it?
No, I mean, if there's a public discussion.
No, why is the president preempting? The president.
We are here discussing a bill.
Fuseni, the president has not said that.
Bills are in Parliament.
The president didn't say that when he lands on my desk, I will look at whether this and that and that. He says that I have been informed.
We are all aware.
That there is an action.
This is a bill. This is still a bill, not an act.
Yes. That I have learned that today a challenge has been mounted at the Supreme Court by a concerned citizen to the constitutionality of the proposed legislation. In the circumstances, it will be as well for all of us to hold our hands and await the decision of the court before any action is taken. Trust me, they won't empanel anybody. They won't empanel. That's the next strategy.
You are calling on the reputation of the judiciary. I mean, how can you be making such preemptive statements?
Stop what they are doing.
How can you be making such preemptive statements?
I'm saying they won't empanel.
Member of Parliament, please.
You see, look, let's
not
be
some reference to the other arms of government.
Oh, let's not pretend. This is
I mean, you can't be making statements like this.
I've made it.
The president says, let's all hold hands. I mean, this is going to be time.
No, I'm saying hold hands.
If there is one person.
Hold hands. Listen,
the
president swore to uphold the Constitution.
Of course.
The Constitution is clear that if it is a private member's bill, this is the process.
It is not just every bill.
I'm saying. So the intervention by the president, where is that inspiration coming from? That's what I want to understand.
I'm saying that, yes, we are ruled by the Constitution is the supreme law of the land. Over time, we are building a governance system. And it's good that everybody's carried along. And I've made a statement that the lawyers say, look, it's better to let one guilty person go, or 1,000 guilty people go scot-free.
But it doesn't apply to this.
If there's one Ghanaian of the 32 million,
when the lawyers say that,
if there is one,
they don't say that in a vacuum.
They didn't say that in a vacuum.
It is through due process. It is through due process. The Constitution spells out the due process for a private member's bill.
So,
which part of that process was the president referring to? That's what I want to understand.
Within this time lag that we are discussing this, the bill can get to the president's desk. He will refer it to the Council of State.
So you already know that he won't sign, but he will send it to the Council of State.
He will. I mean, these are options open to him. Within 7 days, if he can assent to it as is and bring it back to Parliament, it becomes a law. Within the 7 days, if he has issues and thinks that, there's somebody in court, let us also listen to the outcome of the court processes. Don't forget, this is a president who has an unblemished record when it comes to fighting for human rights in this country.
Who?
This is a president who is the most mentioned in the Ghana legal reports. That is his track record. So if he also decides that this is the route we should take, just so that
all I'm saying is that
everybody's view.
All I am saying is
so that this law becomes representative.
All I'm saying,
we all ascribe to in 1992 when
there's nothing more representative.
Fuseni,
there's nothing more representative than the view of Parliament. There's nothing more representative.
You had a unanimous.
Why do we have that?
You had a unanimous and a bad. Look, is it what?
The judiciary to do what?
To also be a check and balance. Just like you mentioned,
which law oust the role of the president on the basis of an action in the judiciary? Which law? Which law?
Randy.
Just show me.
Randy.
Look, Randy, my general view is that government is.
Have you even thought of the president?
Have you
even thought of the president? That tomorrow, anytime Parliament approves something and is for presidential assent, immediately somebody goes to court. We must stay our hands until the determination of the matter.
No.
That's the precedent the president is setting.
The process.
That's the precedent he's trying to set.
You see, he was talking to an audience, some of which who we have built relationships with.
To tell them
over the last 67 years.
That relationship is
we are
superior
here
to
today. It's 5th March, and we are not even talking
the relationship
about
is superior to.
So, this is an independent.
What we are discussing is fundamental to our independence.
See,
the so-called proud nation.
This so-called thing.
Yes, the so-called proud nation that will not. I'm speaking within a context. The so-called proud nation that will not go to the IMF.
Proud of Ghana, right?
I am saying. Yeah. I'm speaking within a context.
Yeah.
The so-called proud nation. In fact, I am quoting the former finance minister.
So-called.
The so-called.
The use of
within
the
context, I'm saying so-called. Yes.
Difficult for me.
No.
Seriously.
I'm choosing my words wisely.
Okay.
And I know what I'm saying.
Certainly.
I'm saying the so-called proud nation that will not go to the IMF because it is not a nation of beggars. Because it is proud. It doesn't need the IMF. It can be able to do things by itself and describe others as naysayers. Today, that same proud nation is telling us about a loss of $3.6 billion over 6 years. And that is a reason why the president shouldn't assent.
And that we should throw our values to the dogs.
No, he has not. I mean, Bawa, you cannot stretch it to that extent.
What does that mean?
What the president...
That you can sacrifice your values on the altar of 3.6 billion.
No.
And you are telling me that you are not throwing your values to the dogs?
No. What the president is seeking to do is that let this law that we have all supported through its processes, let it be as representative.
Which part of the process is that when there's a case at the Supreme Court, stay your hands off? Which part of the process?
Your posture does not suggest that you support this.
Do you understand?
No, I'm coming. Your posture does not suggest that you support this bill. The fact that you use your mouth to say it, you and the people who talk like you, that your posture does not suggest that you support this bill. One, You see, you don't get up. And when you have a situation where about 97%, you said it, it's in the CDD poll, 97% of Ghanaians support this bill. You have a situation where Parliament had a bipartisan unanimous decision to pass this bill. You have a situation where this bill seeks to protect the values for which we live as human beings. Look, I was just talking to a friend, and then we discussed. We said, look, go to United Kingdom, go to the US, go to Germany today, and attempt to marry 2 wives. Just attempt to marry 2 wives. By virtue of the fact that it's an affront to their values.
Every one of us
what?
supports this bill.
You don't show it. You don't show it. And now you get up and use the issues of threats from the West and the probability that we may not get some money that we were supposed to get.
My position this morning is that, look, we need to tread.
And I'm surprised. I am surprised that you have Dr. Amin Anta. See, a very devout Muslim utter a press release that seems to suggest that he puts $3.6 billion over our values.
He is not.
That's the point. That's the meaning.
He is not. If you read,
look,
no, he is not. If you look at the last paragraph,
look, you have
Baba, look at the last paragraph.
Let me make my point.
No, but you have made a statement that is not factual.
What is it?
He says that.
Mm-hmm.
The passage of the new bill calls for fortifying local financial systems, strengthening African financial institutions, as well as our development journey in partnership with other countries, in line with the Ghana Beyond Aid agenda. Ghana can navigate the complexities of international relations and emerge with a robust, resilient economy with Ghanaian ownership of the commanding heights. We can do it, but it's a choice. It's a choice that we have to live with the repercussions of our partners.
Which Ghana Beyond Aid? Which one is that? Which one is the Ghana Beyond Aid?
Look, first, they tried using Afenyomakin to arrest the bill. It didn't work. You remember that after we had gone through all the consideration, everything, he got up and said we should go back to consultations.
No.
It took the Mr. Speaker to draw his attention to the fact that we had done public engagement. You remember that he even had this that we should give copies to our presidential flag bearers to make comments. That was the first one he wanted to use in arresting the thing. It didn't work. The second point was that got Minister of Finance to issue this vague what they call it threat about the fact that we will forfeit $3.6 billion
over a 6-year
period. The third
when you read the thing, they're actually alluding to some $600 million this year.
This year, yes.
Of course.
Then
it's a hole in our budget.
Then
we have to find an option. Either
now
we
you get somebody to go to Supreme Court, and now suddenly Suddenly, you have forgotten that just a few months, or let's say just a year plus ago, you signed another law when people had gone to court, led by the minority leader then, challenging that particular law. You still had the opportunity to sign it. Then suddenly, with this particular one, you say, oh no, you think that this is what should be done. But I say, look, you see the statement he went and made in Ashanti region to the churches to correct his initial statement he made internationally when he indicated that it was just a matter of time.
But you see, the reality.
That's the attitude. I say, the people who are worried about that. If you look at this LGBT thing,
other politicians.
Randy, I don't know whether you have addressed your mind. You have addressed your mind to
this context.
You see this LGBTQ thing. If you see where, from all the research that has been done by the NGOs and others who are involved in these things, mostly is found in urban poverty-stricken areas. These are people who are so vulnerable because of their economic situation. People come there and take advantage of that vulnerability and do these nasty things. These people are not protected. These people are not taking decisions based on conviction. It's purely based on monetary basis. And so when you have situations like that and you don't make an attempt to protect such people, and you think that on this particular one, you say, oh, because somebody is in court, you will have to wait When even the law itself tells you that, look, 7 days, sign. If not, go to Council of State. Council of State, the idea is that the challenges you have for not signing, Council of State will give you an advice. If they give the advice and still you are not convinced, after the 30 days, the law indicates that you must write back to Mr. Speaker with stated reasons why you do not want to do it. I am telling you, right? If they empanel people for this, I'll be very surprised.
But
guys,
that is an indictment on the judiciary.
Me, if I were a member of the Supreme Court, I would be very, very edgy and very uneasy about the president's comments.
Because you are not putting the pressure on me.
I mean, if I were a member of the Supreme Court, I would not be comfortable with the president's statement. I'm telling you.
That's what the Supreme Court is.
For the president to
to
oust his, they follow due process. What the president is talking about has nothing to do with due process. Look, let me tell you something. Does it make sense to you that societies and democracies that in the last 3 years even jail people for having more than one wife? They jail them. In Canada,
yes, for bigamy.
They jail them for having more than one wife. Jail them.
Randy.
Hold on. Less than 4 years ago. Just hold on.
Article 39 of the Constitution.
Chief, just hold on. Does it make sense to you that a person says that?
For the first time, you're calling me chief. You're not calling me. Everything okay.
It's not Gerald. It's called everybody chief.
I mean, I've never heard you call me chief.
Does it make sense? Does it make sense that societies who say that you don't have the right
to have two wives.
You don't have the right. About 1% of the population of the US are Muslims. 1% of the population. Muslims in America are over 1 million. About 1% of the population of Muslims in America, of population of Americans, are Muslims. But you said that you cannot have more than one wife. That one you don't have a right.
See,
that's not a matter. I'm coming. That one is not a human rights matter.
See, this one. We all agree. The president has stated his stance on it.
Your posture does not suggest
the president has stated.
Don't come and trick us on this one again.
The person who brought you one man, one wife is telling you that
now you can do
one man.
One man is
we all support
is better than one man, two women.
The party.
But even I don't know when they say even they themselves. Look,
everybody supports.
Your actions don't. Your actions don't point to that.
Let's carry everybody out.
You
carry everybody.
When
you say that you've had a bipartisan, unanimous approval by your parliament.
Yes.
What do you mean by carry everybody along?
But if that was conclusive in itself,
if we were to carry everybody along, we will never ever do anything.
Bipartisan a person of a
the European Court on Human Rights
in itself.
Do you still remember their ruling?
The Constitution would have not provided for the president to access.
You're talking about human rights.
If it was conclusive in itself, so it's true. Parliament has passed this.
Yes.
It's bipartisan.
Yes.
We all support it.
Me,
wholeheartedly.
You and who support it. Your attitude does not suggest
it. No. When you
are behaving like the finance minister and the two deputies. They sit in parliament, approve this thing, and go back to the Ministry of Finance and issue a statement. They sit in parliament, approve this thing, rush back to the Ministry of Finance and issue a statement. You are behaving like them.
Why do you think
Be bold and tell Ghanaians that tell the president to sign this.
Why do you think that every bill that comes
tell the president to sign?
Every bill that comes to parliament has to come with a memorandum that captures the financial implications of those laws. Why do you think so?
You know,
why do you think so?
We have a situation where
Edward,
Dr. Bomia is moving from one chair to another.
I asked you a question.
One mosque to another. In this particular issue, do you know he has not even made a statement on it? What is his position on this LGBTQ thing?
It's like you asking me what my position is. I have told you.
And what is his position?
It's like you asking me what my position is. I tell you. Born, bred up.
So why is he not stating it?
You see?
What? Look.
See, until I got this platform this morning.
Why is he not?
Until I came to sit on this platform, there had never been an occasion necessitating my my view.
Look,
what I'm saying is that
he addressed Ghanaians
in the fullness of time. At the time, Parliament was still working on this. At the time, this had not been passed. In the fullness of time.
No, but he could still state. He could still state.
Oh,
John Mahama stated
how many bills are in Parliament? He won his view on all the bills.
He was seated right behind the president when he was talking.
Which one? Yesterday's one. Yesterday's one.
How many bills are in Parliament? Do you
want to tell him to state his position?
Of course.
And I want
in the fullness of time.
I want you to look straight into the cameras and tell the president to sign that bill. Say it. Say it here. Say it. Say it.
See. It is not for me. The law.
No, Maza.
Tells all of us what needs to be done going forward. The bill living Parliament.
Your imam is waiting for you in
and that is exactly
for what you have done here this morning.
What we are going to do. I mean, I think that, but it's very important that for this law to stand the test of time. Not too long ago, we had. I mean, there are instances that we need to look. There's a video of the former president John Dramani Mahama when he had attended some AIDS conference somewhere, right? In an interview. He went on to say that, look, some of the challenges we are having in Ghana and across Africa is that even reaching people with the sort of treatment that is available. So he was encouraging. And one of the segments of our communities is the homosexual community. Due to the stigma attached to the deeds that they do, they don't even come out to assess treatment.
So that's
he was encouraging them to come out.
Encouraging them to come out to do what?
For treatment.
For treatment. Yeah, that's different.
So what are you alluding to?
So what is the meaning of that?
I'm just saying that.
What are you alluding
I'm just saying that he has stated he does not
don't
support
prisoners
it.
get medical care?
He does not support
No, people in prison, are they not
it.
entitled to medical
when
care?
When it came to the welfare of the people who practice it, he's encouraging them to come out.
So how do you link that with the law that we are trying to pass?
So even those in condemned cells,
this is a law.
Those in
somebody who
death
has been
sentence,
sentenced to death,
they're entitled to medical care.
Of course they are.
Yeah, so what's the point?
Of course they are. Of course they are. Those law, the implications, we all have to live by it. Whether or not it's support.
So the implication is
much more,
the 3.6 billion.
How much more the
3.6 billion.
We support this wholeheartedly. And our reps in Parliament have shown.
You go and then you go and put up a
so your reps in Parliament,
yeah.
They gave their full support. They gave their full support to the thing. They gave their full support to it.
Yes, they
and
have.
Then they moved to the Ministry of Finance. I went to write an opinion to the president not to assent.
You see, Randy, that's where I call your attention to the fact that every bill that comes to Parliament has to be accompanied by a memorandum. The memorandum should capture the financial implications. So we are passing a bill. It is only true and fair.
That was why the Attorney General was given the opportunity to make an input.
At the point, the Attorney General made an input before laying of this bill. The bill is going through processes.
Is it the case?
At the second reading of the bill, the bill could change so significantly that the input of the
question could all be the original draft. Excuse me. The original draft.
Yeah. It is good and proper. It is good and proper.
Look,
the Ghanaians will know the implications of what we are sending out.
Some of the provisions.
That's what we're saying.
Some of the provisions that were in after the input of the Attorney General were even watered down. So the point I'm just trying to make. Is you had huge input by the executive through the Attorney General. So the issue of whether it is going to be a charge on the consolidated fund and what have you does not even arise. That's the first point.
Oh, that's the opinion.
And indeed, the president himself has not stated that as one of the. No, he has not stated that it is one of his concerns. That's not what he has stated. Oh. He's looking at it from the angle of constitutionality. Oh. He's looking at it from the angle of human rights. And that Ghana is not going to slide. After killing 8 people and not finding the killers. Which one is more low? The human rights. Your first right is your right to live. Your first right is your right to live.
I think that.
And you have a situation where he superintends over the killing of 8 people. He doesn't see that as an abuse on human rights. He goes
on to Parliament have done a very good job.
Radio stations. He doesn't see that as an attack on human rights. But it is when you are trying to prevent a man from marrying a man.
Very good job, including
that is when he talks about human rights.
My good friend, Edward Bao, you have done a good job with this.
Then tell the president to sign it.
You have done a good job with it. And so all I'm urging is let's allow the processes.
What process?
Subsequent to the passing of the
So does the process include waiting for the Supreme Court to have a ruling? Does the process include
if you mean that one innocent person would not be incarcerated, I'm all for it.
All right. Okay. So let me say a big
so emotionally tired.
Happy 51st birthday to the executive chairman of the Fair Sky Group, Mr. Eric Sedi Kutoche. He's 51 today, so happy 51st birthday to you, Mr. Eric Sedi Kutoche, the executive chairman of the Fair Sky Group. Happy birthday to you. It's also your birthday, and as Domi, popularly known as Obanzi, is the CEO of the OBZ group of companies. Today is your birthday, so happy birthday to you, Mr. Ernest Domi, popularly known as Obanzi. Happy birthday to you. And the NADMO boss, Honorable Eric Nana Agyemang Prempeh, that's him, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm told he's 50 today.
Oh, really?
Yes. I'm told he's 50 today. So happy 50th birthday to you. The Honorable Eric Nana Agyemang Prempeh. I think he's the candidate for Ahafo North.
Yeah, that's true.
Yes. So happy 50th birthday to you.
The handing out Sule.
All right. Okay. So
I can't be using words like that.
No, that's what he did. Handed out the guy. So the guy couldn't even go to pick a phone.
Anyway, up next, Metro Sport.